good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to the Young SDG Innovators session, The Future is Now. My name is Bruna Elias, and I'm the global lead for the Young SDG Innovators program. Over the course of the next 2 hours, we will be showcasing innovative solutions for the SDGs developed by our own young professionals across the globe. This is the UN Global Compact Young SDG Innovators Program, an innovation and entrepreneurship accelerator for professionals under the age of 35 in participating UN Global Compact companies. This program engages participants to rethink the business models and identify new opportunities for their businesses and companies through the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, by really guiding them through a series of active learning workshops and trainings around the SDGs and innovation. Our innovators, with the help of their champions and mentors, have been working hard throughout the past 10 months to identify high-impact sustainability challenges facing their own companies and develop market-based solutions through new products, services, or even business models that would allow to address those challenges. The services and initiatives range from different themes such as circular economy, inclusive finance, land reforestation, carbon emissions reductions, and even more. In fact, and you've been hearing this a lot throughout this General Assembly Week, innovation is a culture and a mindset. And to skill and retain promising talent requires not only upskilling and investing in young professionals and middle managers, but also reinforcing the same values and cultures of innovation and entrepreneurship within the company that you wish to see in future leadership. This program in particular has been a true example in demonstrating how SDG innovation can create market-based solutions from global challenges, and how really we can fuel new products, services, and models. Unforeseen challenges are inevitable in business, and innovation is imperative to stay ahead of the curve and grow any company in the process. It allows adaptability and eventually avoiding being stuck to the status quo. The SDGs in particular are another window of opportunity for companies to transform themselves and align their strategies and operations with new and emerging markets, experiment with new business models, and deliver value at a scale and even scope never before seen. And those who choose to capitalize on this will quickly realize that true business transformation and innovation happens by shifting mindsets and inviting others to join, and most importantly, to lead. As the disruption, sustainable development, and youth agendas all gain traction around the world and begin to converge, companies must step up to pivot their mindsets and align with this new reality of things, and recognize the huge potential they can unlock from within if and when they start engaging tomorrow's business leaders. When we started this journey in 2019, it was only in the hope that we can highlight how critical the role of youth and innovation is to advance the Sustainable Development Goals. And now, after 4 years, we see giant strides in creativity, innovation, development, and even solution building with an impact that is far beyond the 10-month accelerator program. We're here today to discover some of the stories and be inspired from young professionals across the globe, from Bangladesh, Brazil, China, Kenya, Mexico, South Africa, the UK, and the US. Our young professionals are rethinking traditional business models and identifying new opportunities for their own companies through the SDGs. Thank you for joining us today. We're super excited to be sharing some of these solutions with you. So, are you ready to learn more? Let's go.
Welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about our project, which is ensuring women empowerment of climate migrated people, so inclusive and agent banking channel. We represent Bragg Bank Limited of Bangladesh, which is one of the largest commercial scheduled bank in Bangladesh, as well as a sustainable banking practitioner. So why we picked up this subject? Because we all know that Bangladesh is exposed to highly natural calamities, as well as the climate migration is also a serious issue in Bangladesh. And we are currently ranking at 7th position in CRI, or Climate Risk Index. So what is the problem? The problem is that by 2050, total 13.3 million Bangladeshis will be displaced from their location to another place due to the climate action or climate vulnerability. The mostly affected people are the rural poor women and their dependent people like their family members as well. So has impacted the SDG 1, 2, 5, 8, 10, and 13. So what they lack, they lack the accessibility of inclusive credit facilities so that they can elevate from this to their better livelihood. Also, there are no specific banking products or programs designed for this particular segment because there are lack of accessibility, lack of financial literacy, and also the traditional conventional banking services do not cater these people for the small ticket size as well as their lack of risk appetite. But if we focus on these people, we would see that there is a good opportunity to regain productivity, to access to housing and landings, source of livelihood and accumulations of to savings and assets as well. So why it is important to Bragg Bank? Because Bragg Bank is a value-based bank, and as a member of GABP, or Global Alliance of Banking of Values, we believe in 3 Ps: people, planet, and prosperity. Also, in Bangladesh, we have seen that the regulatory bodies, which is Bangladesh Bank, has highly focused on the green financing as well as sustainable financing, so that the banks, they usually focus on contributing to the SDG goals. So what is our SWOT analysis in these scenarios? What our positive side is, we already have a huge network of alternate delivery channels, mostly agent banking. We have 800 plus agent banking outlets all across the country. Also, we are a leading bank in SME financing sectors in Bangladesh. Also, our bank heavily focuses on sustainable financing as well as women banking. What witness we have is that the climate financing is totally a new concept in Bangladesh. There are compliance management, and also there are a lack of skilled workforce, and also there are lack of collaboration and coordination among the market players. But if we can work this out, then by 2025 we would have a customer segment of 100,000 people, which will result to a 10 million loan portfolio with an NPL rate of less than 1%. And also it would be a new avenue for our CSR, for our unique social responsibility financing model under CSR. And the threat is that transition risk due to the national and national strategy and policy. Also, there are lack of legal defense, and the social acceptance and political influences are there as well. So what is the organizational strength for business innovation? We have actually 2 players here, mostly focusing on this area. One is our agent banking channel, and another one is the MFI. So what we have is that we have lots of banking services, mostly the transactional services in our banking channels. And currently we have a 40,000 women customer base here with a deposit portfolio of 6.6 million USD and loan portfolio of 26 million. But here other fintech players are also getting in this zone because of the high technological flexibility. But the customer segment lacks the awareness because of the lack of accessibility and usage, and also the business continuity is a challenge which can be mitigated by service diversification and rapid expansion. And if we can ensure the sustainability by multiple alliances or affiliations with other partners and financial services, then we can actually mitigate this and use this as our strength. So in value proposition, we are an inclusive banking with heavily focusing on the women banking segments, and also in SME sector, we finance on agricultural loans as well. And also we have a lot of budgetary funding in CSR activities, mostly on climate risk areas, sustainable financing for climate migration and adoption. And also we are proudly having a huge global partnership in sustainable development and inclusive banking as well. So we tied up these goals with the value proposition, with our value proposition with the SDG goals number 1, 2, 5, 8, 10, 12, 13, and 15. Now I'm going to hand over to my team member Khaled Ali to continue.
Thank you, Mashur. So to promote financial inclusion, we have a multi-stage approach which focuses on inclusive or awareness programs at the community level, process re-engineering, and digital or seamless onboarding and loan disbursement. If we look at our business model next, we have a focus on two stretches, one of which is onboarding, new customer onboarding, and the second part focuses on the existing customer graduation process, which is under regular monitoring and assessment. So for new customer onboarding, it's a focus on promoting financial literacy, capacity development, and digital onboarding, while for the graduation process, we try to build up their financial asset base, increase their services through diversification, and through disbursement of green loans in digital means. And over time, we graduate them to a higher level by increasing their loans and products, as well as we promote development of some of the participants into micro agents themselves, so they can operate as agents of change in their local areas or communities. To re-engineering, we need to implement some technologies which we are already on the process of, which includes paperless account onboarding, quicker onboarding, paperless and seamless transaction, and authentication through biometric or fingerprint. These are done to make the process more inclusive. In terms of background work, we need to establish agent banking outlets throughout the country, more so in the climate vulnerable areas where there will be migration. And we'll engage partners such as BRAC and Aqua for All for capacity building, as well as through facilitate market linkages. And this is a model where multiple partners fit in together. We have look at the existing scenario, which is affected by issues such as high debt equity ratio, higher interest rate, and less flexible tenure compared to our model. And we have seen that the different stakeholders all fit in a cohesive manner to carry out their respective functions for the overall program implementation. And for financial projection, we'll expand our presence over a period of 3 years in the most climate vulnerable districts of Bangladesh, which are primarily the coastal areas. We'll expand our reach through new and existing outlets, and over time, the existing outlets will expand by gathering more beneficiaries to them, and the new outlets will continue to expand by focusing on or capturing new market areas. And over time, as we transition from a savings approach towards a loan or funding based approach, our product per customer or the service diversification will increase, as will our balances or portfolio in terms of savings and loan, as well as the funding which we shall be providing. That's for in terms of impact. We will be having impacts in 4 categorically broad areas: promote financial literacy, improve livelihoods and reduce poverty, reduce gender equality, and to promote productivity and increase economic opportunities, all of which touch upon the SDGs through multiple dimensions, which we have discussed earlier. Thank you. That's all from us for now.
Morning, everyone. Today I'm going to present the lithium batteries recycling project in Brazil. So who are we? Who is this Young Innovators team? We have Marina, our sustainability consultant, Rogério, our operational intern, and myself. My name is Paola. I'm an innovation specialist at Solvi. Solvi is the largest management group in waste solutions engineering in Latin America. We work mainly in 4 different fields: treatment and disposal of waste, industrial services, concessions and public-private partnerships, and energy recovery. So why do we want to recycle lithium batteries? What is so interesting about lithium batteries for us? To answer this question, I'm going to be giving a little bit of context regarding rare minerals and its market. Rare minerals nowadays have an increasing demand, and one of the reasons for that is that the clean energy transition that is a must for us as a society nowadays to reduce our carbon footprint in the world also requires a larger input of minerals in comparison to fossil fuel technologies. So, for example, the electric vehicles that we have nowadays, they demand around 4 to 5 times more minerals than a conventional car, which means that if we changed in Brazil 100% our fleet from conventional to electric, we're going to be looking at an increase of 50 times more cobalt demand per year in our country. The same goes for our power generation. So different power generation alternatives that we have that are cleaner in a carbon footprint view, we have heavier demand for minerals. So the problem is that nowadays we already are having issues to work sustainably with the current demand. 70% of the world's cobalt is produced in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and based on the operation mines, supply already won't be able to keep up with demand by the year 2030, maybe even as early as 2025. And the big mines that work there are being accused of corruption, poisoning the locals, and exploiting Congo's resources with very little benefit for the country. So how can we guarantee the supply while working to reduce these extraction needs? We are a waste management group, so of course we look at waste as a solution. Not throwing it all away seems to be a good start. We look at lithium batteries specifically because it is a very complicated type of waste that we have in Latin America that we don't currently have a solution for, and that is very concentrated in these types of materials. Where do we find them? How do we use these lithium batteries? Pretty much anything nowadays that can be charged has a lithium battery inside. So from electric vehicles to smartphones to pretty much any wireless gadget. It is wireless because it has a power source inside of it, which is mostly a lithium battery. And I invite you all to look at your phones right now. You can turn it and you're going to be looking at this little icon. It is forbidden to send to landfills. It is forbidden to send to common waste treatment. Why is that? Why can't I throw my smartphone in the trash? Of course, we have all the economical reasons for that, but why cannot we do that right now? The problem is that lithium batteries, they have the risk of exploding when damaged. So it is regarded as a hazardous waste. So what is our change model? Our idea is to get this hazardous waste that we have right now, that is already an issue for our industries, manufacturers, and battery sellers in Brazil, and give a sustainable solution to put it back into the economy, to do this cradle-to-cradle treatment of this material. So we're gonna gather all of these batteries from these players in the market, receive them, dismantle, discharge, and shred them in a sustainable and safe way. Do the separation of the main components for recycling, which are mostly black mass. Black mass is the product that has the most concentration of minerals and rare minerals. Ferro scraps that don't need a lot of treatment to be recycled, and RDFs, which are mostly the components of plastics and paper that can be used as a substitute of fossil fuels inside of the industry. When we get all this information that, okay, we've recycled this battery completely, we can do the issuance of reverse logistics certificates for these players in the market so that they can use this information and tell the market that they are doing the sustainable way of treating this hazardous waste and giving it the best estimate possible. Funding in future, so we already have a pilot running inside of one of our operational sites. With the results of it that we've already collected, we are working on a business plan presentation so that we can project this operation for industrial scale. We have inside of our company an investment prioritization group in which we can request funding to scale it up. And once we get to the scale of industrial production, we are going to be monitoring the KPIs, both the SDGs and the business ones, so that we can prove that this is both a sustainable solution and also a profitable one. Once we prove that, we can multiply the solution for all of the other industrial sites that we have in Latin America. This works very well with our company because we have as a strategy of a group to work towards a circular economy, so reducing the waste that is being sent to landfills and giving it a new life, giving it this cradle-to-cradle treatment. And the magical aspect of it is the waste valorization is actually getting something that would be dangerous for the environment, dangerous to be put away, and turning it into a profitable market product. Thank you very much for your attention. Please feel free to follow us in all of our social media.
Hello everyone, we are the youth team from China Baowu Steel Group Corporation. I'm Liu Huijing.
I'm Yang Jielong.
I'm Yang Shen.
We are UN Global Compact Young SDG Innovators, and here we will share our SDG innovation story with you all.
In China, more and more young people love to drink coffee. We have heard that China's poorest city, on the same latitude as some famous coffee production areas such as Colombia and Brazil, produces around 2% of the world's total amount of coffee yield annually. Pu'er is becoming so popular that it has even become a source of coffee beans for well-known coffee giants such as Starbucks and Nestle. However, when we arrived at the charming Ning'er County in Pu'er City, we found that the reality was far from the imagination. It was actually unsatisfactory. There were very few decent coffee shops in this coffee town, and we failed to find or purchase quality branded coffee products. We realized that the local coffee industry was facing great challenges. For example, due to the incomplete industry chain, coffee farmers in Ning'er County mainly sold raw beans or primary products, resulting in the lack of brands and inability to pursue brand premiums. In addition, Ning'er faced problems with a large coffee bean yield, but inadequate brand premium capacity, which led to coffee farmers receiving a low income. Sometimes the purchase price was so depressed that it was hard to regain the cost of planting the coffee. Consequently, it was happening so frequently that it resulted in coffee farmers abandoning their plantations and cutting down the coffee trees. Faced with the plight of the local coffee industry, it got us thinking deeply about whether we can change the situation. Then we submit an application to the company for a social responsibility program. We believe that China Baowu, as a large manufacturer, can play a positive role in responding to the global challenge of development in resource-rich but underdeveloped regions. By the virtue of the company's funds, technology, talents, and management, we can empower the entire local industry chain from coffee fields and coffee plants to coffee cups, contributing to SDGs 10, reduce inequalities, and SDGs 12, responsible consumption and production. Focusing on sustainable development, China Baowu approved our application and recommended that we build a team called Baowu Intelligence Cultivator and join the YSIP. With the enabling efforts of YSIP and collaboration of all stakeholders, a cup of responsible coffee has been born, with a responsible Pu'er coffee industry chain successfully taking shape. We integrated the resources from the industrial ecosystem and introduced professional coffee enterprises and local producers to register Ningxiaodou coffee. By doing so, the industrial chain can be established locally, and the high-quality production areas are connected with larger markets. We have designed a centralized compensation mechanism regarding the income of coffee farmers, and thus ensuring the long-term stability of coffee resources.
I promote the establishment of relevant standards and guide coffee farmers to establish plantation standards by grading the purchased coffee beans. They have treated coffee practitioners by classification. We have established the Ningxiaodou coffee trading platform, which has allowed us to mine the coffee price index from big data. And we are gradually competing for the right of market discourse in large production areas from traditional buyers.
We have opened up the supply chain, launched the market cooperation with the local net zero, and explored building the zero carbon coffee brand, which guides consumers to develop awareness of maintaining a low carbon weight and encourage them to practice sustainable consumption. In China's new coffee era, we have launched the farming contract model of Under the Coffee Tree on our e-commerce platform for the 0.3 million employees of China Bowls. By doing so, consumers who have never seen the coffee tree before may get the opportunity to experience the journey of a coffee bean, and the coffee farmer's revenue can be locked in advance.
We decide the trademark and the packing of Ning Xiaodou, a bird which is the totem of the honey people in nearest stands on the coffee tree, conveying the national culture to the world-served coffee. When we shared the Ning Xiaodou director coffee with our work colleagues and our work friends, the tree ablished with roast flavor. The coffee of Ning Xiaodou has become a style of fashion amongst this community and continue to be shown wide.
At present, the volume of Ning Xiaodou drip coffee has reached nearly 10,000 boxes and over 100,000 bags, while more than 50,000 coffee trees have been adopted. The coffee trading platform has also basically been built, where in the upcoming coffee production season, more benefits will be brought to coffee farmers through the compensation mechanism, etc. These achievements delight each and every one of us, bring hope to the local coffee industry, and strengthen our confidence in promoting the sustainable development business model of Pu'er coffee industry to cover more regions around the world. In particular, we will help communities and residents in regions that are rich in resources but still undeveloped to realize their dreams of a better life and a better future.
Responsible coffee.
Sustainable future!
Hi, we are Team ACE from State Grid Wuxi Power Supply Company. I'm Yu Miao.
I'm Yang Xilan.
We are young SDG innovators from China.
I'm Zhu Yue.
Hua Yue.
We are Jian. We are supporters of our team.
Our program is Sustainable Infrastructure, Better Communities. Every morning when we wake up, the world's urban population grows by about 200,000. The scarcity of land resources is becoming a common problem worldwide. It is estimated that over 60% of the global population live on less than 3% of the land. As the most basic unit of urban residence life, the community assumes more and more demands in the process of urbanization. However, two factors constrain community development: the limited space and the limited function of the existing infrastructure. Well, how to enjoy a more convenient and modern life with limited resources in our communities? In order to address this issue, we strive to make the most use of the limited space by enhancing the multi-functionality of the existing infrastructure. As the world's largest utility, State Grid Corporation of China operates the largest electrical grid in the world. A power utility by the people and for the people is our tenet. We are committed to providing stable, safe, and high-quality energy while also constructing more sustainable infrastructure for social well-being. The little house on the screen right now is called a residential substation, which is the source of electricity for every household in the community. In my city, every community has 2.3 substations, one for every 800 people. However, the area around the substation is littered with e-bags, trash, and weeds, making it difficult for the little house to perform at its best.
What we plan to do is to integrate more functions in the free space outside and share services. When property administrators require e-bikes to park together, we build parking sheds and install charging ports. When residents need more convenient pickup and delivery service, we introduce smart parcel lockers. When communities want to release notices in time, we offer electronic bulletin boards. In total, we add 13 functions including illumination, weather forecast, business handling, car charging, and so forth. Moreover, with our expertise, we install photovoltaic equipment for energy storage, providing a zero-carbon approach. In 3 months, from research, design to realization, we built China's first zero-carbon energy sharing station in Xin'an Jiayuan residential compound of Wuxi.
Since we have the station, it's much easier for me to charge. I can take 5 more orders for the time saved.
During COVID-19, I can just pay the electricity bill downstairs without going all the way to a bank or service hall.
Up to now, the station has been in service for 251 days, and the rooftop PV panels generate over 34,000 kilowatt-hours of electricity, reducing 26 tons of carbon dioxide emission and providing service for over 5,000 persons' times. Regarding the business model, we have formulated a classic plan of 3 × 2 + N. Targeting different florage, we offer 3 types of design: simple, standard, and flagship. We provide 2 investment plans for residential compounds, well-built and under construction. One station's investment is from $9,000 to $37,000. As for the N kinds of infrastructure, except for the substation, a list of modular options is provided. The station is operated by an independent legal entity owned by State Grid, creating jobs for the community. Take the longest-running project of Xin'an Jiayuan as an example. On the one hand, PV power generation can reduce electricity costs and produce revenue. On the other hand, providing electricity generates an income of over $2,600 annually. In total, the project brings a revenue nearly $6,000 every year.
We have produced multifaceted value for stakeholders, including the government, property developers, and merchants, while bringing convenience to local residents and generating financial benefit for communities. Now, we have partnered with many developers and property management companies and completed site selection and design of 8 stations of the Phase 2 project. This June, Wuxi City Investment Development Corporation reached out to us and integrated our plan into the remaking of an ancient Grand Canal sightseeing belt. In order to apply our Wuxi plan to more public spaces, we have made a 3-step agenda. For land-constrained and highly urbanized areas, the plan is applicable to multiple public facilities, such as convenience stores, gas stations, bus stations, etc., to ease land shortage. For areas of energy shortage and poor infrastructure, we can offer low-cost clean energy solutions to meet the minimum demands for telecommunication, drinking water, and transportation. Sustainable development is a grand vision. For us, to meet the daily needs of the people and to contribute to the common good is to turn the vision of sustainable development into reality in our own way. We address the most pressing issues with our straightforward solutions. At the same time, we are contributing our expertise to build more sustainable communities. Thank you for listening.
Hi. My name is Hazel Gaki, and I'm the compliance officer at African Coffee Roasters.
My name is Hiram Kamau. I'm the sales representative at African Coffee Roasters.
My name is Jonas Ponsles, and I'm head of sales and logistics.
My name is Jim Kamau, and I'm the compliance officer.
We are African Coffee Roasters, a roastery in Kenya. We source, roast, and pack coffee uniquely to our customer requirements for the export market. We are revolutionizing the coffee industry by roasting and packing at origin, therefore having more value remain at origin. This way, we are creating more impact for the farmers. Our mission and vision is to improve the life of coffee farmers and consumers by promoting a more sustainable trade. We joined the United Nations Global Compact in the year 2017. In 2021, we participated for the first time in the Young SDG Innovators program, whereby we tackled SDG 13, climate action. This in turn led us to participate in the Climate Ambition Accelerator program for the year 2022, which is still ongoing. For this year's Young SDG Innovators program, our challenge focuses on SDG 1, no poverty, and SDG 10, reduce inequalities.
Our current brain spot is that we are uncertain on the impact we are creating on the coffee farmers, yet our mission is to improve the livelihoods of these farmers. Contrary to most other companies, 60% of our coffee value is retained here in Africa, while about 39% of it is invested in our communities. Yet, it is difficult to ascertain how much is retained by the farmer and if it's enough to enable them live above the poverty line. If coffee farmers are not paid a fair payment, there is a risk that they will stop growing coffee or lower their quality. This will have a major impact on our brands.
Since it's very difficult obtaining credible information about the payments to the individual farmers, which are our primary producers, and also to obtain information about their living standards, we have worked on identifying third-party organizations that can help us collect and obtain this information. So part of this information will be collected by certification bodies. That's mainly the information on payments. But the other part about living standards will be done by organizations like Innovators, who specialize in collecting information specifically from small-scale farmers across the world. So they will help us identify the main challenges and what we need to improve on. With the information we receive from these different organizations we have identified, we can form a baseline study, both to see where we have the least impact at the moment, but also see where is there potential for doing more and doing better. So, together with our clients, we have agreed to do 5 crowdfunding projects. We are aiming at raising $27,000 that are earmarked for impact projects. We'll use this baseline study that we're working on to identify where and how we can utilize this money in the best way. We have also committed our company to do a farmer bonus program. This is basically a profit sharing program, and that will help us channel more money to those farmers where needs are being identified.
A third initiative that we have is to increase the volume of certified coffee that we are purchasing. Third-party coffee certification programs are a very crucial tool that we use at African Coffee Roasters to ensure that we have increased value and sustainability in the coffee supply chains and also improved traceability. Third-party coffee certification programs are a crucial tool that we use here at African Coffee Roasters to ensure that we have sustainability in the coffee supply chain and enhanced traceability even as we plan for the next level of impact creation. Through these programs, fixed additional premium payments are paid to the farmer over the agreed price of the coffee. This ensures that the farmer has an additional income to supplement the cost of the coffee. We have made arrangements with two of our biggest clients, whereby all the private label products that we produce for them need to have a social certification. This has in turn meant that the volumes of certified coffee that we are purchasing has increased considerably, and this has also led to the premiums that we are paying to the farmers from these certifications increasing. In this year alone, we are anticipating paying over $500,000 in premium payment to coffee farmers through the certification programs. With these solutions, we aim to create verifiable impact for coffee farmers and ensure that their lives are improved. Examples of certification programs that we have adopted are Rainforest Alliance, Fair Trade, and Organic. Come, let me show you. This is the Rainforest Alliance Sustainability Mark, which is represented by the green frog. This one here is an EU Organic Mark of Sustainability, and this is the Fair Trade Mark.
We appreciate the United Nations Global Compact for their input and support throughout this journey.
Thank you.
Have you ever imagined what will happen if suddenly villages disappear? What will be the impact on the supply of essential goods and raw materials? Will cities collapse? Cities have not proved to be the solution to poverty. They display high levels of inequality and leave rural areas out of the value chain, causing a worldwide misconception of rurality. Even though the cities have a welfare concentration and accessibility for development, their problems have been accentuated over time, such as the concentration of poverty or the environmental impacts generated by. However, rural areas have a lot of strengths and opportunities to offer, as shown. Also, rural areas are highly relevant to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. There are studies that show that 70% of them are linked to these areas. So this project will focus on SDG 1 and 8. So what is the situation in Mexico? People in rural areas are 9 times as likely to live in poverty and present higher inequalities in access to essential services. More than a half of Mexicans live in poverty. 50% of the localities are rural, and 87% of the people who live in these areas are poor.
So, we acknowledge the relevance of rural areas towards the achievement of sustainable development goals and the challenge they face with poverty. Tackling the problem with aggregate statistics hides deep inequalities. Urban centers with large population display poverty challenges and do not represent a holistic solution for it. The problem lies in the distribution of opportunities, and rural areas might show an alternative solution. We tackle the complexity of the problem by addressing rurality and poverty as a multidimensional microsegmented issue. We challenge the current definition of rurality by designing 2 KPIs that encapsulate development and poverty for each block in Mexico. Essential services become more essential in rural areas. Ensuring education, infrastructure, and services is essential to provide the resources needed to drive its development. Where the promotion of decent work in the rural economy is key to eradicate poverty, the rural economy holds significant potential for creating decent and productive jobs and contributing to sustainable development and economic growth. But it is hindered by low-wage and low-value activities. This makes us wonder, how might we create an engine for sustainable development in rural communities living in poverty?
We present our solution proposal, Rural Activo, and we are Rodrigo, Luis Aron, Marcos, and Paulette from CEMEX. Rural Activo is a model that uses a holistic methodology to develop and activate rural communities in a sustainable environment, based on the vocational and the strengths of the community and introducing emerging technologies to build the rural communities of the future. The model is based on 3 fundamental principles: the strength and collaboration of the community, leverage on its vocation, and enhance it with technologies emerging. The goal is simple: move from a low-income national strategy to specialized high-value goods and services. The solution creates a cooperative with the members of the community's value chain with defined targets to address their challenges. Then we accelerate their development through alliances and introduce blockchains to provide a transparent and trustless governance. We propose a cooperative scheme because it is people-centered, it supports a circular economy, and it is an autonomous and democratic entity coherent with the inclusive business model. One of the main challenges that cooperatives face is how to carry out this autonomous and democratic governance and in the most transparent way. That is why we see the opportunity to apply blockchain in a platform so that the governance of the cooperatives is traceable, accessible, scalable, reliable, but above all, it has to be a platform that belongs to the cooperative itself. Leveraging on CEMEX value chain, we can provide a sustainable development. We can find great benefits when Rural Activo is correctly applied because it addresses the challenges faced by rural communities, living in poverty by leveraging on their core vocation and improving constantly its productive activities independent of the industry. With half of the clients present in rural areas and 40% of the revenues generated through them, CEMEX value chain displays a symbiotic relationship with the rural economy, and at the same time, the company has the potential to address the challenges they face with the poverty where 70% of the revenues are generated.
So, how will this look like applied? We want to talk to you about Perote, Veracruz, a place that we have identified to pilot this concept. What we found is that there is concentration of block producers, carriers, and mechanical shops in Perote, whose processes are mainly manual and inefficient. Let's see how Rural Activo and Perote looks like. The first step is to form the that they define their own goals and create a sense of belonging. The most important at the beginning is that the people of Perote can develop their skills, particularly digital. The focus at this stage is cost optimization. Then the focus shifts to create value-added products and stop competing only with price. Moreover, they can develop their own digital platforms. In this third stage, the cooperative keeps expanding, even collaborating with local government, improving the town's infrastructure. They now can make bigger investments in automation and in assets such as digital distribution centers and electric fleets. This is how we arrive to Perote of the future, a place where they cooperate to the point where people share electricity in a smart grid, deliver products in autonomous vehicles, and integrate the value chain of the region with a control tower. They even share their intellectual property as digital assets that other communities can take advantage of. This is how Perote becomes a collaborative community that integrates all their value chain so they can develop economically and socially. And you may be asking, where will all this financing come from? The answer is simple, from right there. Because if we put the community in the center and we go along with them in their cooperation process, we can achieve a true sustainable development. Rural Activo can be scaled to other locations that match CEMEX businesses. And this is only one example. With Rural Activo, redefining rurality, including rural communities, leveraging in our strengths, we can create a social and economic growth engine centered in the community. Thank you.
We are running out of beer. Without farmers, there's no barley. And without barley, there's no beer. Without farms, there's no food. Have you ever thought about how much of the food we consume comes from farms? I am here representing the team for Grupo Modelo and our Young SDG Innovators program project. To make beer, we require about 430,000 tons of barley each year, using 115,000 hectares, with the hard work of approximately 5,000 farmers. Our farmers' age average is 56. Their education level is less than 6 years, and their families consist of 5 to 7 people. One of our sustainability goals consists of smart agriculture, which means that 100% of our farmers will be trained, connected, and financially empowered by 2025. In Grupo Modelo, we have already implemented diverse programs to benefit farmers. But what are we missing? In 10-15 years, our farmers will be 70. And they won't have the capacity to keep up with such a demanding job. That is why we have to look into the new generation of men and women that have been trained under a new model that will allow them to generate more income and better work. In the next chart, we can see how the interest in working the fields has decreased significantly since 1991. What does this mean? That this incredibly fundamental activity is not an attractive career option or is not seen as a professional or personal growth opportunity. According to a study conducted by Universidad de Chapingo, among our farmers, careers in farming have lost their appeal among new generations. in some level because of lack of information and generalized negative view of that particular job. There are several gaps regarding education, even though we have our own technical training to active farmers, mostly regarding efficient agricultural practice, fertilizer use, regenerative agriculture, and access to marketplace and digital tools. So what can we do? What is the solution to this problem? What we are proposing is the Mexican Innovation Hub for Agriculture. We will technify, train, and empower youths from our barley farmers' families through digital tools and cutting-edge technology that will motivate them to continue the family business and be part of the innovation of our agriculture. This project consists of 3 parts. First, the Mexican Agriculture Training Center, where young people can get an education specialized on farming from experts with a focus on innovation, idea development, business management, entrepreneurship, and digitalization. Number 2, Agricultural Innovation Hub, where different alternative models will be explored for a better crop, resource, and co-product management and development. And number 3, expansion to other industrial and gastronomical markets, so together we can identify different industries to which they can offer their products and co-products. We want our hub to be equipped with the latest technology, that all learning be interactive and digital, that they have the opportunity to create, to experiment. An important component of all the project is the family participation, because additional to the hub trainings, we want the farmer to help their sons and daughters with additional training and experience with all the knowledge that they have, and that they nourish this pride and this desire to continue with the family business. While thinking of this solution, we identified 3 SDGs that we will have an impact on. First, number 4, quality education. Next, number 8, decent work and economic growth. And finally, number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Renewing the beginning of our value chain can guarantee the sustainability of barley supply, at the same time that we create more advanced agricultural systems regarding productivity, environment care, and social development. With this project, we go above and beyond our company's sustainability goals, reaching the next generation with technology and inclusion. If right from the beginning, we focus on training the farmers' families on technology, digitalization, product innovation, and co-products, we can professionalize the sector. We can make agriculture a new and attractive business that next generations will aspire to work in. Our current model is a one-to-one with farmers. We provide seeds, work, and training, and they provide the barley. The model we aim to implement consists of using our resources and experience to implement the agricultural hub, aimed towards the farmers' families, providing educational and technological resources to create alternative and digital agriculture that translates to current barley farmers, as well as cross-section to alternative and digital agriculture into a new generation of workers and added value co-products. Through this, we are expecting great benefits. First and foremost, benefit the farmers' families, but also we expect a return of investment not only on higher crop efficiency to produce beer, but also guaranteeing barley availability on the long term, creating a better source of income to the families that rely on farming. There are many other companies that aim to create a sustainable agriculture, so we can think of partnerships to implement a better project, with private but also public partnerships. And one final benefit from this is that we can tropicalize the other crops to escalate impact not only to barley fields, but to every single crop that we can imagine. To finish, I would like to introduce our team. First of all, our champion, Ana Maria Alvarado, Procurement Director. Next is Ana Rangel, ESG Coordinator. Andrea Sanchez, Corporate Affairs Manager. Angela Dominguez, Government Affairs Manager. And yours truly, Juan Manuel Rosales, ESG Manager. But we don't plan on doing this alone, as we will look for support from other areas in the company, especially agribusiness, innovation, finance, and many others. We want agriculture to be aspirational again. In the end, or rather in the beginning, everything that we consume comes from the fields. They literally feed us. So we need to bring an industry that has been seen as old-fashioned into the next century to make it sustainable. This way, we can achieve a more sustainable supply chain and future, creating better jobs and shared prosperity. Let's dream big to create a future with more cheers.
Hello, we are the Young SDG Innovators at MTN South Africa. My name is Nomonde Nyamande. I'm a specialist in postpaid proposition, go-to-market, and experience.
Good day, I am Bastana Makhano. I am a specialist in human resource planning, reporting, and analytics.
Good day, and I'm Amela Mulega. I sit with the Sustainability and Corporate Affairs team at MTN.
And we have a fourth member named Stephen van Wyk, who is with us in absentia. So the problems that we have identified is firstly e-waste. Even though e-waste only represents 2% of solid waste streams, it makes up 70% of hazardous waste that ends up in landfill and is not being safely managed. We also have the second problem of mobile internet connectivity. As we close the coverage gap, the usage gap and connectivity gap are not closing at the same rate. So we find ourselves with an opportunity that meets our interests and aligns with the SDG goals. We want to increase smartphone penetration and data subscribers, as well as usage of digital platforms, both inside of MTN and outside of MTN, as these platforms connect people to valuable resources that could improve their lives. And in our solution, we will be improving inclusion, financial inclusion, educational, and digital inclusion as well, by making technology more affordable and also reducing e-waste to take a more active role in improving the environmental status of the world. So where have we started? We started by increasing rural broadband coverage and also increasing smartphone adoption and internet users as well. We also identified an opportunity of capitalizing on the ever-growing refurbished devices market, and this is how we'll do it.
All right, thanks, Namanda. Our solution impact is based on a circular model economy whereby we refurbish devices that will otherwise end up in a landfill. So how this is going to work, we base this on a circular economy model. On the right-hand side, we can see the customer tracing their devices to receive an upgraded device at a subsidized rate. We take the devices, those devices are being refurbished and be made available in rural markets through our walk-in centers, the MOMO centers. Basta will be more into that. On these devices will be getting on the flexible payment plans. Customers will then be able to interact with devices and learn more about technology in our walk-in centers. And then after all of that, the customer will make a decision whether they want to upgrade even to a higher end device or not. But the main impact is that we're keeping them on a high-end device which can offer a 4G. This will broaden up the horizon in terms of financial and digital inclusion, because these devices will be preloaded with MTN apps such as the Momo, Ayoba, MTN Online School, and all the other apps that we'll be looking at providing to the communities to further increase digital adoption and MTN's core strategy, which is everyone deserves the benefits of the modern connected life. I'll hand over to Basizan.
So how we will incorporate this, we will be using our mobile financial services platform, which is known as Momo, whereby a registered user will be able to go on the app and see the tab devices and click on the tab devices, whereby they'll be given two options. It's either to buy a device or sell a device. So how this would be rolled out, we'll be using our social media platforms, our MTN website, our Yellow Trader, our agents, as well as radio ads, because of the people that we are trying to reach in these communities still rely on the radio for information. And as you can see on your right here, these are our yellow containers whereby we'll have all our smartphones, technology such as your tablets, laptops, and also provide internet so that they can also enjoy the experience of technology and learn more about it, and also be able to do online learning or apply for jobs. So, however, yes, this is something that's there, and our competitors are competing at a similar scale and are focused on high-end device trade-ins. But with our reach and scalability, as being the largest telco in Africa, we'll be able to reach a whole lot of communities and provide smartphone at a lower scale with a broad range of devices and different brands. And this is pushed by us being the most valuable brand in Africa and living by our core purpose. And not just providing cell phones, we'll be also providing opportunities for the people within these communities that have these businesses and are currently lacking resources. We'll be providing them with resources, skills, and the internet, so to ensure that even the yellow containers, if they are not available, our people in our communities remain connected. This is our solution, and this is how we want to reach out lives. Thank you.
Hello everybody, we are Team South Africa from Sibanye-Stillwater, and we are very excited and proud to bring our novel solution today regarding the Young SDG Innovators for 2022, whereby we will reimagine mine closure. As accustomed at Sibanye-Stillwater, we always start off our sessions with a values moment. Here are the values that we subscribe to, and it is deeply embedded in who we are. I've chosen innovation as our value for today, whereby we believe that collaboration is the gateway to innovation. Right, as a quick snapshot of who we are at Sibanye-Stillwater, we originally started off with gold operations in South Africa, gradually evolved and diversified into the platinum group metals in South Africa, and now we are also having a footprint in the United States, and now also in the green metal space in Finland, France, and Australia. Right, I would like to use the time to introduce our team.
Marcel Ferreira, Environmental Compliance Supervisor at the PGM sector. My passion is soil science, environmental science, and agriculture.
Hi, I'm Quentin Poulter. I'm the water treatment specialist, and I'm passionate about adding value to water treatment solutions.
Hi, my name is Tadilen Tabi. I'm the social sustainability specialist at Sibanye-Stillwater. I'm passionate about embedding the SDG principle of leaving no one behind. Thank you.
And then myself, rounding off the team, Sarah Barnard, Manager, Investor Relations and Integrated Reporting, passionate about technology, innovation, and how we bring everything together. Right, so what's the problem at the mining industry currently? So no large mine of environmental significance has received a closure certificate in South Africa. Thus, the mining companies need to reimagine mine closure. The problem is actually twofold. Whilst we operate, we emit immense amounts of GHG or greenhouse gases, and if we stop operating in those fields, you will get mining towns that's forgotten, such as the pictures showed here. And if you look at the video, this is the devastation that's left behind. We at Sibanye-Stillwater believe that we can mitigate these factors if we think about mine closure holistically. We haven't yet to close a mine as Sibanye-Stillwater, but closure is coming quite soon, and we would like to take the chance and look at it holistically and mitigate these devastating factors. Right, so what's the opportunity that we have? So our research shows, unfortunately, that 69% of funds spent by the mining and metal sector between 2015 and 2019 show that 69% was spent on the economy. But we believe that you can't have a functioning economy if you don't have a functioning society. And also respectively, if the biosphere is not in a well-working order, there's nothing to support the society. So we believe there are 3 SDGs that is key to, out of the society and the biosphere space, to mitigate mine closure. These are our 3 lions: green, yellow, and blue: zero hunger, affordable and clean energy, and clean water and sanitation that will help us prevailing mine closure. Right, so what is the roadmap to the circular economy in the mining industry? First of all, we need to understand the linear side. So we start off with natural resources, infrastructure gets erected, the community develops as mining operations commence, and then the end of the mine. And if you don't look at mine closure holistically, we see the devastation as is prevalent in our problem statement. So what is our solution to a circular economy? So we believe there's a triple helix formula that we can embed in our solution. 3 solutions in one that will benefit in the 10x thinking and will relinquish mine closure and make it part of the solution. So what we suggest is there's water solutions. We can implement water treatment plants or fertilizer plants whereby we can extract fertilizer and potable water, number 1. Solution number 2, go into agriculture solutions whereby we erect aquaponic farms that can be run by local communities, and our water treat stations can feed water and fertilizer into the aquaponic system as well. And then finally, electrifying the whole solution is our electricity or energy solutions whereby we erect solar PV plants, wind power, and also battery storage. As I alluded, we are going into battery metals as well as an underground hydro facility whereby you can use redundant shafts to generate electricity. And then the circular economy gets developed as the fertilizer plant feeds into the aquaponics and everything is being powered by our energy solutions. So what is the impact of our solutions? First, let's look at the economics. So first of all, we've got our 3 solutions, and then we can clearly see number 1, energy, number 2, water, and number 3, agriculture, all have exponential growth capabilities. But if you combine all 3 of these into one novel solution, we can see a healthy net present value of 620 million rand, or when you use the exchange rate of 17 rand 35 as of today, you get a healthy net present value of 35.7 million US dollars. And this is also just in time for the forecasted closure with a favorable payback period. So economically, this makes sense. But now, more importantly, the impact to society. So if we look at our energy solution, we will be able to provide electricity for 37,000 households or 186,000 odd people if we implement the electricity solution on a large scale. If we implement our water solutions, we can contribute and mitigate the 17% potable water deficit that's projected by South Africa, whereby we can provide 125,000 people with potable drinking water. And this is not even taking into account the fertilizer that we can provide to South Africa as well. With a current rate of 40,000 kilotons per month import of fertilizers, we can provide it ourselves and to the communities at hand, cutting those costs as well. And finally, looking at our agriculture projects, if you see the stat there, 1 in 10 South Africans go hungry every single day. And this solution of ours can contribute to feeding 50,000 people every day of the month. And this will be run by our agriculturist, Marcel Ferreira. So, if we cut through all the noise and combine everything, we can produce electricity, water, and food for communities that is coming closer to mine closure at the end of the day on a small scale model. If we implement our large scale model, as previously mentioned, we can produce the electricity to 185,000 people, we can produce water for 125,000 people, and we can produce food for 50,000 people. And with that, I say thank you so much for your time, effort. This has been a wonderful journey from us at Sibanye-Stillwater. And please, if you want to reach out, please do. You can contact myself, Tabiling, Marcel, or Quentin. We're ready at hand to answer your questions, or if you want to reach out regarding our solution. Thank you very much.
Our presentation today is on financial inclusion and the SDGs. I am Rabina Niger, Marketing Associate at Crown Agents Bank.
And my name is Nigel Atametsa, Relationship Manager at Crown Agents Bank.
So I'd like to speak to you about financial inclusion and why it's important, especially to those who are unbanked. Now, unbanked refers to people who have no access to a bank account or financial services. And with that in mind, I'd like to ask you, how many people do you think in the world today are unbanked? Sadly, there are 2 billion people in the world today who are unbanked. We hope our solution will go towards helping to reduce this number. Now, to introduce ourselves, Crown Agents Bank is a UK-regulated wholesale FX and cross-border payments bank. We have over 180 years of experience in emerging and frontier markets. We work with some of the world's largest humanitarian development organizations and financial institutions and governments. Last year alone, we helped move over $4 billion for our international development organization clients. Now imagine the impact it would have if we had more partners on board.
Absolutely. And as we've said, right now, the financial inclusion problem affects almost half the people in the world, over $2 billion. And majority of these people are located in emerging and frontier markets. Now, why do these problems exist? For three reasons, according to what we think. The perceived risk, people think it's often more risky or more challenging to do business in these markets than it actually might be. The commercial opportunity, people thinking they may not generate as much revenue or turnover by operating and providing these services in these markets. And limited market education, people simply not being aware of how you can actually do business or have the right skills, tools, and resources to do so and provide these services. Now, to make any dent towards improving financial inclusion, we need to really address some of these problems and start thinking about them in relation to the SDGs. And for our focus, we're focusing on 8, 10, and 17, decent work, economic growth, reducing inequalities, as well as collaboration and partnerships. So moving on beyond the problem to our solution, we were thinking this needs to be something that addresses those problems directly, educating the market, changing some of the perceived risks, but also impacting key stakeholders that are responsible for moving funds and providing these financial services. So the criteria for our solution then had to be something with low barriers to entry and consumption in terms of us producing and our consumers actually taking in the information, something that would be realistic for us to implement, even though we wanted a wide scale impact. And we came up with the idea of using a podcast. And now, with podcasts, several hundreds of millions of people are listening to these every day, majority of which are listening through mobile, which is very key for our market. Given the fact that most people tend to take information through mobile or audio or radio in these emerging and frontier markets. So it's a podcast, but not just any other podcast. Now, how will it work? So effectively, what we want to do is deliver bite-sized content between 30 and 45 minutes from people or internal, external subject matter experts within our network. So some of those clients that we've been dealing with that are responsible for some of the largest humanitarian programs or some of the largest remittance projects, they will be the people that are speaking, the people that are providing the financial services and making people feel more included. And given today's context, we want this to be as shareable as possible. So we'd also include some video context, as well as trying to capture some feedback, trying to measure the impact of this podcast through quarterly feedback surveys. Now, we already run webinars, seminars, live panels, and articles as an organization, so this would fit nicely within our existing content pillars. And we also know that out there are already other banks and finance companies that have their own podcasts. So it's nothing new that people would then have to learn to receive. It's just something that's familiar that will allow us to achieve our three-pronged strategy to educate the market, engage them, and transact, which we feel is the most important thing. So moving them from listeners to doers with the products and services that we offer as a bank and allowing them to make a difference to these 2 billion people. And just below there are a few examples of some of the podcast topics that we were potentially proposing, covering country risk, covering personal identification challenges, as well as some regulation changes that we've seen and we have some feedback on to share.
And now to highlight a few objectives of our solution. Number one, we'd like to establish Crown Agents Bank as a market leader for emerging and frontier markets. We want to position ourselves as the go-to solution provider in these markets. We want to transform risks perception. Yes, it's challenging doing business in emerging frontier markets, but it's not impossible and there is opportunity. And we want to increase transactional flows into these markets to improve livelihoods and economies. Now, an example of a case study where we can show impact is in the Caribbean. Bigger banks scaled back operations almost overnight in that region. This left local banks with limited access to international banking services. Due to our long-standing presence in that market, we were able to plug the gap and ensure banks remain connected to its global financial infrastructure. And as a result, banking infrastructure collapse was avoided, and were able to let local banks maintain their connection to international markets.
Now, once again, making sure that we deliver impact and measure the results of this impact, we have three main categories of metrics that we'll be monitoring as, from the inception of the podcast. We have the financial metrics, looking at the yearly transactional flows into these markets following the inception of the podcast. We have the contextual indicators that look at the countries in which we're sending funds to, as well as the number of new clients or new participants requesting those services to then provide those services into those markets. And then specific metrics around the podcast itself, looking at monthly listeners, as well as the quantity and quality of the feedback survey responses as well. Now, to summarize, we know that there's a massive problem where 2 billion people are currently unbanked without access to financial services. And we know that this is increasingly prevalent in some of these emerging markets. We have a critical need to improve financial inclusion to make any progress towards meeting these SDGs. And we're focusing on 8, 10, and 17 because we think those are the ones that, if we address, we can have the largest impact. Our solution is a podcast and so much more, but what we want to do is educate and cause behavioral change within some of these key stakeholders that can actually make a difference. Our objectives are to change the risk, make sure people understand that it's not as risky or it is possible to do business in these markets, and establish Crown Agents Bank as a go-to solution provider to change these people from listeners and thinkers into doers. And ultimately, we want to see more transactional flows into these markets, which will indicate the fact that they are, increasingly receiving these financial services. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. My name is Nigel, and this has been Rabina from Crown Agents Bank.
Hi everyone, my name is Henrietta Frodell and I am one quarter of PA Consulting's Young SDG Innovators team of 2022. Climate change is very much an out-of-the-ordinary global challenge that requires extraordinary responses. PA's guiding North Star is the power of ingenuity to build a positive human future, and entrepreneurship, in which we were trained through this program, plays a key role in realizing this vision. So I am therefore delighted that we've been able to partner with the UN Global Compact this year to further help challenge the status quo. And sustainability, as football, where all the players on the field are different but critical to winning, requires a diverse set of actors and skills to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And as business and industry leaders listening in today, including young voices within your organizations is more than a responsibility. It is an opportunity and a winning game strategy in sustainability. PA's lineup for this year's cohort consists of Beth Murphy, Iris Alting, Nikki Atkin, and myself. And we have spent the past 6 months developing a solution to help bridge some of the gaps that currently hold sustainability innovators back from realizing their potential. So together with Beth and Nikki, I will explore the solution that we have brought to the table today. And starting with you, Nikki, we know that the scale of the sustainability challenge is big and complex. So do you want to explain a bit more about how we decided what to focus on and why?
Absolutely. Thanks, Henrietta. Business as usual no longer works. What used to be seen as the inconsequential side effects of doing business, such as greenhouse gas emissions, plastic pollution, chemical leaching, are fast becoming a very real cost of doing business. It was somewhat fitting that as we pitched our final solution back in July, we were behind a screen rather than at an in-person camp as planned because of the record-breaking temperatures that the UK was experiencing. So if business as usual no longer works, then how do we change it? We need to think differently. We need ideas, we need innovation, we need technology, and at PA, that's exactly what we seek to bring to life. We know much of the innovation and technology required to reach the Sustainable Development Goals has already been invented, but the challenge is helping these solutions to scale at the pace required. As such, our solution focused on how we could enable the scale up of great ideas. And to dig into this, we really needed to understand what are the barriers that are facing innovators today. So Beth, would you mind introducing some of the challenges that we identified as part of our research?
Of course. So as Nikki said, we spoke to a number of startups, and they confirmed our understanding that translating an idea into reality is much more complex than creating the idea itself. We also discovered that 9 out of 10 startups fail for a number of reasons. But 2 of their key challenges, which we're trying to address, are firstly around having the right knowledge and know-how to run a profitable business successfully. And secondly, a current lack of connections to investors and businesses that can help along that scale-up journey.
And as if it wasn't difficult enough to bring about change from scratch, the past 3 years have exacerbated this disconnect even further, as many of the platforms for forging connections disappeared beneath the chaos of lockdowns, virtual working, and competing priorities. So we asked ourselves how we might be able to promote a physical platform that's tailored to a post-pandemic hybrid working world that can help reignite some of those critical connections for our sustainability innovators. Beth, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about the shape that this solution took in practice?
Of course. So our solution is a shared physical platform to bring sustainable change to life. So in practice, this means that we're looking to create partnerships with co-working spaces across the country, focusing specifically on areas where natural hubs for sustainable idea exchange are less common, and to develop a twofold approach to helping innovators, investors, and industry experts bridge that knowledge divide. So we really want to encourage and empower our PA people to be the best sustainability advocates through informal and sometimes unexpected collaboration that can happen just when you share a space.
Building on these partnerships, we would also love to run a series of events within the co-working spaces. These events could include mentoring or networking events, or hackathon-type challenges focused around a specific sustainable development goal or a specific challenge that is common to many innovators. Other types of events could include speed dating to connect innovators with advisors and investors. And in speaking with co-working spaces, they're really enthusiastic about having a series of events to support the partnerships.
And there are a number of benefits for both startups and for ourselves as part of this solution. So the benefits for startups are that they'd gain access to leaders to aid in knowledge sharing. They'd also gain collaboration opportunities to build on existing ideas and to actually support them in working through some of their challenges. It also provides them with networking opportunities for now and future partnerships and funding potential. But there's equal benefits to PA. So firstly, the ability to work locally, reducing our Scope 3 emissions and travel time. It also provides us with a broad perspective within the firm on challenges that face innovators and that we work with currently. It also provides us with networking opportunities to be able to build our contact base and to aid employee development, particularly for our more junior colleagues.
Thanks, Beth. And though we've now completed the Young SDG Innovators program, if anything, this really just felt like the end of the beginning. To finish, would you like to just tell us a little bit about what a progress bin has since we finished the program and what is next on the horizon?
Of course. So since the YSIP course ended in July, we've been driving this forward in our own time. So this has included reaching out to co-working areas within London and wider to start to assess who our potential partners could be. This has also provided us with feedback against our solution, such as the mentor scheme that Nikki mentioned earlier. Internally, we've been building out our business case in order to start to gain buy-in and investment from PA. We've also begun socialising with the company the importance of innovation and sustainable change, particularly around what we've done as part of the YSIP course. So there's still a lot of work for us to do over the next 6 months and onwards in order to be able to gain that investment, start to create those partnerships, and actually then begin to run some pilot schemes. But the next steps are really key for us, so watch this space.
Thank you both for providing an overview of the programme and our work. And to all of those tuning in, thank you so much for joining. And please feel free to reach out to continue the conversation and be part of reigniting those connections. Thank you.
WheelPros is the largest designer, manufacturer, and distributor of aftermarket wheels in the world. We offer wheels, tires, and related accessories for cars, sports utility vehicles, trucks, and UTVs. We set standards, create trends, and constantly challenge the impossible in the automotive sector. Our company is deeply appreciated by enthusiasts around the world as we offer a wide range of products from our 30-plus lifestyle brands.
Hello, we are the WheelPros team from the third cohort of the United States Young SDG Innovators program. My name is Amelia White, and I'm an environmental and sustainability specialist.
I'm Alex Bullen, and I'm a senior financial analyst.
My name is Jason Lee, and I'm a product designer.
Sustainability is becoming increasingly important to WheelPros. Through our participation in the Young SDG Innovators program, or YSIP, we recognize that Sustainable Development Goal 12, Responsible Consumption and Production, was one of the most significant to our company. We want to ensure that WheelPros remains a responsible steward of Earth's resources while minimizing our impact on the planet.
One of the biggest challenges we have identified within our company is the packaging of our products, specifically our wheels. Some of our current packaging uses unsustainable and non-recyclable materials like plastic and foam, which increases our impact on landfills. It is also insufficient to protect our products, resulting in damaged and unusable wheels, as well as lost time and money. The aftermath from these damages increases our emissions output from the transportation and melting of scrap aluminum. Additionally, as we are consistently adding new brands with new products, we are looking to remain consistent with our packaging and sustainability efforts across the company.
The goal for our package redesign project contains two parts. The first is to create more sustainable packaging by using recyclable or reused materials and providing information on how to responsibly recycle the packaging. The second is to create more protective packaging to reduce the number of damaged wheels. By accomplishing both goals, we will be able to streamline our packaging across all of our brands.
Participating in YSIP over the last 10 months gave us the opportunity to work across various departments within the company. Not only that, but we also had the opportunity to partner with the professors and mentors at YSIP, as well as a third-party packaging consultant who brought their real-world expertise to our project.
Currently, we are working on developing and testing new packaging ideas for our wheels and other products. Our first priority is to replace the laminated cardboard wheel boxes, which are difficult to recycle and requires the use of plastic. We are transitioning to plain brown recyclable boxes with our logos printed on the side. That includes information for our customers about how to recycle the boxes.
Additionally, we are testing replacements to the plastic foam protective fillers that go inside of our boxes and hope to find a recycled, plant-based, or biodegradable option. We are working to reduce our use of plastic stretch film and find ways to recycle this material. WheelPros is making great strides to replace as many of our packaging materials as possible with reused, recyclable, plant-based, or biodegradable materials.
Overall, we know that the greatest way for us to reduce waste is to prevent damage to our products. By focusing on protection of our products and the sustainability of the material we use, we hope to continue to decrease WheelPro's impact on the planet.
We are excited about the way WheelPros is expanding its focus on sustainability as a whole because of our participation in the Young SDG Innovators program. We are committed to being responsible stewards of the planet and are encouraged by the many partnerships that have been developed in and outside of our company that will help push this project forward.
We would like to thank everyone involved in the Young SDG Innovators program for all they have contributed to our project, as well as our champion, Ed Burns, and WheelPros for allowing us to participate in this incredible opportunity. Thank you.
We are WheelPros.